Chris the Nightmare Ariola, and you're watching Mission Boxing Today on YouTube.
Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? Alright, man, so on this video, I'm just going to talk about just different heavyweight topics. I don't even know what the title of this video is going to be. I'm just talking about random stuff, man, instead of doing individual videos for all this shit. I really need to start doing a live, what is that called? The live chat? Is that what it's called? The live stream. I'm thinking about doing that one day, man. Y'all leave in the comments section if y'all think I should do a live stream, but I've been thinking about that. Right now, man, I'm catching up on watching the Zimnoch versus MOLLO. Man, this is the rematch now. We know MOLLO came through the first time and blitzed Zimnoch last year. So this is the rematch, and Zimnoch caught MOLLO with a really good left hook, man, and dropped him. MOLLO was in between throwing a punch himself, and he got caught, got dropped. He was hurt, saved by the bell in the third round. I couldn't believe he got through that round. It's round 4 right now. Zimnoch won this fight. I know he won it, but it's my first time watching it right now. But he got his redemption, man. I wonder if they should fight a third time. But I don't know, because Zimnoch, in this fight, he came in 12 pounds heavier. This fight, what I noticed is he's throwing a lot of 1s and 2s, jabs and right hands. It's round 4 right now, about 2 minutes left. MOLLO, I cannot believe he made it through that third round, man. Damn, a whole round, because he came out from the second round when he got saved by the bell. He was hurt bad. He was still hurt when the round begins. Zimnoch tried to jump on him, and he was landing some good punches. MOLLO's a tough dude, but he lost this fight, though. I'm going to catch up on that in a minute. All right, what else did I see, man? Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, right? So I'm looking through my Instagram, and I see Antonio Tarver. This is the message he just left yesterday, so this is my first time seeing it. He says, I just texted Eddie Hearn and told him I'll be willing to fight Luis Ortiz on the undercard of Joshua Klitschko. So now we're going to see who's the most feared man in boxing is. There will be no issues with my license. Al Heyman assured me of that. No excuses. All right, now, you know, I know whenever I post any type of Antonio Tarver stuff, a lot of fans do not want to see him fight. Especially when especially when Tarver is calling out guys like Wilder and Joshua. A lot of people do not want to see him in a title fight, man. I wouldn't want to see him just placed there. If anything, take some fights. You know what I mean? I know he's up there in age, but he does work out. He stays in the gym. He stays training. He stays running. He's always posting stuff. He's been doing it for like the last ever since I can remember, the last year, 2 years. I know he's had the drug testing issues. But if he can get licensed, like I've always said, if you can get licensed and somebody's willing to license you and promoter willing to put you, a promoter is willing to put you on the card, make your money. You know what I mean? Now, if they want to do drug testing and all that, well then, you know, you can't blame them for that. Go through the drug testing. And let's hope you don't have any issues. You know what I mean? But as much as some people don't want to see him fight, I believe Tarver is a lot closer to getting a fight with somebody than most of you think. You got to remember, him and Gerald Washington was pretty close to being made, and then when that happened with Rodriguez, then they had Washington step in for him. But if you guys remember, a few days before that happened, Tarver had slipped up on the Boxing Voice, and he slipped up and said that he may be fighting Gerald Washington. They were possibly trying to put that card, or they were possibly trying to put that fight on the undercard of the Wilder and Rodriguez at that time when it was the Wilder versus Rodriguez fight. But yeah, he had slipped up and said it. I had knew about it, but I didn't say anything, and that's only because, you know, I have a friend that's with the Gerald Washington camp, and they told me, but I didn't make a video about it because they didn't want me to put it out there if it wasn't going to be true. So I had heard about it, but it wasn't nothing concrete. You know what I mean? But Tarver slipped up on a Boxing Voice, so he was close to fighting Gerald Washington, man. Plus, him and Gerald went back and forth on Instagram last summer, so you know what I mean? That fight was being close to being made, so I think Tarver may be a little bit closer than some of us give him credit for. Now, as far as fighting Luis Ortiz, Luis Ortiz, now that the WBC has granted Stiverne the fight with Wilder, we know that Ortiz will not be fighting Stiverne in any type of WBC interim fight or eliminator fight. All right, so but we also know that Luis Ortiz is the mandatory challenger for the WBA title. Joshua and Klitschko will be fighting for it. You know what I mean? So, but I don't think he wants to just sit out and just wait for that. You know what I mean? Now, if Luis Ortiz doesn't fight anybody else that's rated, I'm just going by his WBA ratings. All right. Pulev, well, you know, no, Pulev is the mandatory for the IBF, but I'm looking at Andre Fedosov, Trevor Bryan, Jarrell Miller, Manuel Char. Okay, not Trevor Bryan, but Jarrell Miller. Trevor Bryan is rated, but Jarrell Miller is a guy that Hearn said he was trying to put together a card with Miller versus Ortiz, possibly in the Barclays, because he wants to do a card here in America. Now, if that fight can happen, I would way rather want to see that fight than Ortiz versus Tarver. All right, so let's not get it twisted. There are some guys that I want to see Ortiz fight over Tarver, besides him fighting the top guys like Wilder and Joshua Klitschko. You know what I mean? But what I don't want to see is Ortiz just fighting a journeyman level guy that 85% of the fans have never heard of, besides like me and, you know what I mean, guys that really watch the top 100 like that. I don't want to see him fighting somebody like that. I would way rather see him fight Antonio Tarver than a journeyman guy that we know he's going to beat in a round or two. I wouldn't want to see that. You know what I mean? Now, can this happen on the Klitschko and Joshua undercard? I'm not sure what Eddie Hearn is going to do as far as that goes. I'm thinking Hearn wants him in the ring, wants Ortiz in the ring. He was possibly talking about Dillian White, but him and Dillian White was going to be, you know, for the WBC. If the WBC, this was before they made the decision with Stiverne. Hearn was suggesting that the WBC have Ortiz versus White fight for the interim title, then fight Wilder, but that's not going to happen. So I'm not sure if Dillian White or Eddie Hearn, those guys still want that fight to take place. So Ortiz, I would like to see him on the undercard. I think it's a fight that well, I think there's a possibility that he may fight on the undercard of Klitschko Joshua, but I don't know, man. I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Tarver, for me personally, because I think Tarver is closer to fighting somebody. He's close, man. He's close. So if he wants to go out the way that you know, the way Hopkins just went out, to really, you know, get him out the game, let him go out like that, man, if that's how he wants to go. Because in Tarver's head, he looks at it like nobody's never really beaten me up. Yes, he's lost fights, but he even hit the canvas before. But for him, it's like he's never been beaten up. You know what I mean? He's never been knocked out, stopped. So he's one of them old cats, man, where you're really going to have to beat him up and get him out the sport by beating him up. So if, you know, I guess it'd be pleasure for some of the fans that think he'll get knocked out anyways fighting you know, a guy like Ortiz. So, hey, you know, it'll quench your thirst to watch it, right? You know what I mean? And it'd be, and if he does get knocked out, it'd be the first time. Yes, I know he's up there in age, you know what I mean? So I'm not saying that he's in his prime, but he is in shape. And you know what? I still think he can beat journeyman level guys. I still think he could beat some journeymen. So I would way rather see him fight than a journeyman. You know what I mean? There was something else I wanted to talk about also. Yeah, it was you know, now that Stiverne and Wilder is going to, you know, most likely that fight is happening, or the, you know, WBC ordered it, so it's going to happen. What can Stiverne do this second time around to win this fight? Now, I know he said the first time he was dehydrated. Okay, cool. But I'm just talking stylistically. What can he really do? Because the last time he just put up the high guard, tried to walk through Deontay Wilder's punches, try to get close and exchange power shots at a mid-range. That's pretty much what he did. I thought he was smothering a lot of his work that first time. I think his head movement was slowing down towards the mid to late part of that fight. I thought he was just too willing to eat the jab. I mean, it was certain times as if he was taking a jab just to show Wilder that you can't hurt me, you know, the you can't hurt me thing, which, okay, cool, but, you know what I mean, I don't think that's healthy, for one, and for two, he's scoring points. That's what the judges are looking at, you know what I mean, and then sooner or later he's going to blind you with the jab and catch you with the right hand. Now, Stiverne, although he did get, you know, wobbled and staggered and hurt in that first fight, he did go to 12 rounds. He's very durable. You know what I mean? But what can he do this next time, man? Move his head a little bit better. Be a little bit sharper with combinations the second time around. Probably invest to the body much earlier. Like, really just try to invest to the body. Try to cut the ring off on Deontay. I don't know if Deontay's going to elect to go on the back foot this time. I'm assuming he is, just based on how Stiverne fight. But then I also seen Stiverne try to stand and box a little bit, stand flat-footed, and trade with his hands down, try to move his head and use his shoulder and be slick a little bit. I've seen him try to do that. He's done it with Areola. What's the dude that stopped him, man? That's how he got stopped, too, when he was against the ropes. It was a bogus stoppage, but he got stopped, too, like that. Putting his, you know, against the ropes, trying to roll and catch shots with his hands down, do that type of stuff. He did it with, that's how he got dropped with Derek Rossi when Rossi just put him down. I put up that clip on my page. If you guys haven't seen that, just type it in YouTube search and it'll pop up, because that fight was not televised. But somebody was in the arena and they did, you know, they just did the little quick video of it. They caught that on video, rather, of him getting dropped by a right hand from Rossi when he had his left hand low, trying to peck away with his jab, shooting it from his hip, and he got caught. You know, I don't know. He does not want to play that game with Wilder. Just standing flat-footed, trying to do that. I don't think he can get away with that. Just his reach isn't long enough, and I don't think his jab is quick enough. And plus, the way Wilder's move, he's got to be accurate with it. And just leaving it out there lazy, I think he'll get caught trying to do that. But what do you guys think that Stiverne can do the second time around, man, to get this win over Wilder? And what can Wilder do better in the second fight? You know what I mean? What mistakes can he limit this second time around? I'm thinking maybe not be up against the ropes as much as he did in the first fight. Use the uppercut a little bit more in this fight based on Stiverne's style. Keep the jab out there. Keep using that check left hook that he was using, especially when he would pivot with his lead foot. Pivot to his left and then throw the left hook while he's doing it. He can do that. You know, I think Wilder can get that right hand to the body too. Mix it up with the right hand and get it to the body once in a while. And it's all based off what Stiverne, when he kind of covers up, you know, the stomach is open. But, you know, what can Wilder do to have a better performance? You know what I mean? Because he dominated that first time, man. In my opinion, he completely dominated that fight. So what can he do the second time around? Another thing I want to go over is earlier today I did a Joseph Parker video, Hughie Fury, talking about that fight. And I was going over the WBO rankings, but I was going over last month's rankings. So the rankings as of right now, February, Parker's the champion, David Hayes #1, Hughie Fury 2, Christian Hammer 3, Jarrell Miller 4, 5, Andrew Ruiz Jr., 6, Kurat Pulev, 7, Israel Gono, 8, Dillian White, 9, Andre Fedosov, 10, Andre Redenko, 11, Tom Schwartz, 12, Ajay Kabayel, 13, Kayatoro Fujimoto, 14, Razvan Kojanu, 15, Zhili Zhang. All right, so Christian Hammer #3. So in the last month rankings, they had Jarrell Miller #3. So he went up a spot. I guess he deserves to get bumped up ahead of Jarrell Miller, being that Christian Hammer's last 2 wins were fights where he was the underdog going into the fights. Now, I'm not saying that everybody picked against him, but he was an underdog going into those fights, the David Price fight and the Erkin-Tepper fight. So I think he deserves to get bumped up one spot of Jarrell, being Jarrell hasn't fought since the Fred Cassie fight. Yeah, he beat Cassie, beat Nick Guevas. You know what I mean? So he hasn't fought since then, man. You know, and I think those are two solid. I think those are two solid wins for Christian Hammer, Tepper and David Price. I think those are two good wins. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's it, man. Just wanted to touch on those little few things, man. I'm out.